Hey guys, this is Ryan. Um, I'm here in Asheville, North Carolina. A lot of you who are in the state with me have probably noticed today, the 28th, that the governor, Roy Cooper, issued an executive order on March 27th. That's yesterday, a stay-at-home order and an explanation of that order. I've heard some people that were ridiculously excited about this and not in a good way. I would say very anxious and scared. Some of them were angry because they thought, hey, we were already told to stay at home, and here it's gotten even worse. Now we really have to stay at home. And I know it's easy for these things to, fly around the community and kind of get lost in translation. So I thought I'd sit down with you and go through it with you. It's 10 pages long. All I've done is make some highlights and see if we can't get this through this thing together and get a handle on what exactly is this order instructing us to do. I'm hoping you'll find some peace of mind with me. In any case, first thing I want to do is I want to note that this executive order is in effect on Monday, March 30th at 5 p.m. and it will be in effect for 30 days. So that sounds pretty draconian, right? 2 weeks has been hard enough, and now we've got, excuse me, about to go to bed here. Now we've gone, to, code red, so to speak, for 30 more days. So we're talking about 6 weeks here. So how are they going to enforce this? Well, right up here, this is the bottom of this 10-page edict, by the way. It says it's going to be enforced by state and local law enforcement officers, and it's punishable as a Class 2 misdemeanor. Now, these cops have families and friends just like all the rest of us, and I'm sure that they need to do their job, but I'm also sure that they want to be human about it. They're not just going to be, dragging people off of interstates and throwing them in jail. Speaking of jail, what is a Class 2 misdemeanor? Let's take a look at that really quick. Look this up at a place called um, law firm in Raleigh called Willie Nickel, and they give an explanation of misdemeanor charges. Excuse me. As you see down here, a Class 2 misdemeanor carries a maximum penalty of 60 days in jail and a $1,000 fine. Uh, Examples of Class 2 misdemeanors include simple assault, disorderly conduct, resisting a police officer, carrying a concealed weapon. So, wow, that's pretty serious, right? So if you assault someone or are carrying a concealed weapon without a permit, um, is that the same thing as uh, going for a jog in your neighborhood? Is that the same thing as going to pick up some groceries for your aunt? Exactly what is this Class 2 misdemeanor? Well, that's what we're going to find out. So I've cut some highlights out of the document, the executive order, and I want to go through them with you. First of all, the document is in three sections. The first section is about what it means to stay at home and what the exceptions to that are. The excuse me. The second part of the document is basically what an essential business is, and it's not really, we're talking about essential business. We're not talking about what is an essential, organization for the purpose of profit. We're talking about what is the essential activity that you are allowed to do or not allowed to do. So we're going to find that out. And the third part is the third section, so to speak, is well, the third section would be um, gosh, I'm sorry. Hold on just a second. Like I said, I'm pretty tired. Let me look here. Third section is up here. It is Oh, what is a mass gathering? So we're going to look at that. Fourth section is blah, 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 blah. Basically saying that if your community has a stricter standard than the state does, then you abide by that community. For instance, you can go to public parks, unless, of course, public parks in your jurisdiction are closed, and you can't, so on and so forth. Um, Fifth and sixth section is basically saying, this is the law. It can be enforced as such. And then, of course, the effective date for Section 7. So let's get down to the nitty gritty here. Thanks for going with me here. First section, stay at home or place of residence. So all this is saying is that you should stay at home and stay away from, 6 feet from anybody who's not part of your household. Pretty cut and dried. It also says that all persons may leave their homes or place of residence only for essential activities. So, or essential government operations or essential businesses. So, what are essential activities? What are essential businesses to you and me? Let's find out. First of all, you can only travel for essential activities, not non-essential activities, but you can also ride on public transit. So if your buses are open in your area, sit 6 feet away from other passengers, you can, you can travel on public transit. Here's a paragraph 3 of that section. Leaving the home for essential activities is permitted. So you can actually leave your residence, you can see that, but only to perform any of these essential activities. What are they? Well, basically, if you need to help somebody else who needs help and is unable to help themselves, or even your pets, you can, for reasons of health and safety, you can go out and help them. That seems pretty reasonable. It gets better though. So go help people if you need to help them. Don't be afraid to step out there and help somebody who needs help. That's not against the law. What else is not against the law? Well, without limitation, you can go out and get necessary services and supplies to all those same people that it takes to live, to maintain safety, sanitation, and essential operation of residences, places of employment. Well, what do you do at your house? You probably don't want to go furniture shopping, but you can get food, you can, get things to fix the house, you can get toiletries, all the regular stuff you need. So as you can see here, it also says you can get auto supplies. So if you run out of washer fluid, you're not going to get thrown to the ground because you went to Advance Auto. You need some washer fluid. So again, prudence is what we need to find in our reaction to this, not fear and hysteria. That's what's driven us, guys, to the place that we are now. So we're not just trying to turn around the spread of the infection. We should be trying to turn around our attitude about how we're reacting to this. Much of which I'll cover in another video. So what's next? I believe this is for yourself. You can go out and engage in outdoor activity without limitation: walking, hiking, running, golfing, biking. I mean, this is fun stuff. I mean, this is what we all want to do when we usually can't because we're working all the time, right? So, how's this for a restriction? Pretty nice, without limitation. Walk, hike, run, golf, or bike in places that aren't closed down. So don't be afraid. Of course, these are subject to limitations on events or convenings, which we're going to find out in just a little bit. What are those? Oh, I'll break it to you right now. It's just basically not hanging out with more than 10 people. You can hang out with up to 10 people, but not more. So let's see how liberal this is. You can leave your house to, again, transport your family members or friends or pets to important events like weddings and funerals. So does that mean you can go to a wedding and funeral of 10 people or less? Let's find out. I think it's important also to know that even though most of us are deciding because we have churches of 10 or more people not to have church services, you can still travel to a place, to and from a place of worship. Yeah, so if you're having a Bible study with you and 5 of your buddies, get this, you are not breaking the law to get in your car, drive to your church for a Bible study. This is all considered an essential activity. What is considered an essential activity, what is considered an essential business is going to get even more liberal as we go. So this is not as bad as it sounds, folks. Let's move on to the next example. You can go out of your house to receive goods and services from an essential business, or you can, you can go to a place of residence for the purposes of, picking up your child or visitation arrangements or child custody. Um, these are all allowed things. Geez, everybody, likes to talk about how, oh gosh, I wish I had more time. I'd love to go volunteer someplace and help the poor, help the needy, or whatever. Here's your chance. Go help the poor. Go help the needy. Get off your butt. Get out of the way of this screen you're looking at. Get out of your house. Go take a walk. Go take a hike. Go drop some, go to the pharmacy. Drop some stuff off to your grandma, and then go down to the rescue mission. Go to some kind of shelter and help somebody. Volunteer to help somebody. That's all acceptable here. Any ministry that you want to go volunteer for, the veterans shelter, for instance, in Swannanoa, you can go there. So moving right along. This does say in section 2, non-essential business and operations must cease, except as defined below. For clarity, home-based businesses may also continue operations exclusively at their own residences. So, if your home-based business is if your home-based business is clean people's feet for a living at the end of the interstate ramp, then that's probably not going to be acceptable. But home-based business where you do things in your home for business, totally acceptable. You are considered an essential business. Considered an essential business. Okay, so feel free to get cracking and make some money for yourself. What other businesses are essential? Well, for the purposes of this order, a COVID-19 essential business and operation, see, not just businesses, but operations, includes businesses, not-for-profit organizations, or educational institutions that conduct operations while maintaining social distancing requirements. So if you are a business that can keep 6 feet between your employees and keep 6 feet between your employees and your customers, guess what? You're an essential business, guys. You're an essential operation. You don't have to necessarily shut down your educational endeavor. You don't have to shut down your not-for-profit. You don't have to shut down your business. All you have to do is pare things out a little bit and keep people away from each other, as much as possible in those businesses. I mean, so you probably, if you have your own stock exchange trading floor, you probably shouldn't be running that. If you've got a boiler room that's 20 feet square and has 100 people calling phones on it, that's probably not a good business to run. But any other business you can think of that can simply separate its employees by a safe distance and its customers at a safe distance is again, essential business and operation. I don't know what else to tell you. That's not me. That's what the executive order says. So, we don't have to now we can't make other people open up their businesses, but we can do our part in following the law, but keeping our lives going. Um, this thing's not as this disease for most people is not as scary as everybody's made it sound. And like I said, that's coming in another video. And the measures we're taking here in North Carolina, according by this executive order, are not as extreme as you might have thought. That's why I'm going through this with you. Next, any kind of healthcare operation is an essential business. Basically, this is a huge long section, about 6 pages long. I'm not going to go through all of that. I'm just going to hit a couple of really interesting highlights. As you can see, includes but is not limited to, and what do you know? Go get yourself a pair of glasses. You can go to GNC, or you can go to Whole Foods, or you can go to the French Broad Co-op. Those are dietary supplement retailers. You can go to see your naturopath. They don't have to be MDs for you to see them. You can go see a naturopath. You can go see your doula, as is needed. What I think is kind of funny here is it says you can continue to go get counseling. And this interesting phrase here, substance use providers. Substance use providers? So, I mean, they already named pharmacies right up here. So that's covered. This isn't talking about prescriptions down here. I don't know what it's talking about, except that, hey, if if counseling doesn't work for you, you go there and it doesn't work for you, then you can always go to your local drug dealer and get what you need from them, right? Of course, I jest, but that's really kind of, vague wording, if you ask me. And none of you have so far, but I think that's kind of funny. In any case, what are some additional retail businesses? Interesting. Bookstores that sell educational material. Well, what bookstore doesn't? And I know you all have already read this before I have. Beer, wine, and liquor stores. For goodness sakes, we don't want to shut down any essential retail businesses like beer, wine, and liquor stores, do we? I guess if this had been done in, I'm glad we haven't, I guess if we had legalized marijuana in North Carolina for recreational use, then they would have listed that as well because, hey, money, 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 right? So essential is in the eye of the governor, apparently. And as you can see, pet and feed stores. So what is a mass gathering? Any event or convening that brings together more than 10 persons in a single room, single space at the same time. Okay, except it does not include normal operations at places like libraries and shopping malls and centers. See, all this is from a legal point of view, at the state level, a gross overreaction. So this rule, 10 persons or less, it applies at churches, but it doesn't apply at shopping malls. Okay. I guess we know where our priorities are, don't we? But what I'm saying is, if there's a store open, for goodness sakes, let's not all go bankrupt. Go see these folks. Go let them know that it's important that they're out there hustling and trying to make a living and being available for what you would like to do to cure your cabin fever. Go to the library if your libraries around are open. Some people might see this who are not in Asheville or Buncombe County, and maybe your county or city hasn't gone so crazy as to just shut everything down. So if you've got a library, shopping mall open, heck, go out and read some books for a change. If you've got a shopping mall open, I doubt there is one, but if there's one open, or for goodness sakes, if there's a store open in it, a Dollar Tree or something, get out there and support your local business people. As you can see, notwithstanding above, funerals are permitted to include no more than 50 persons. So, the truth is, um, I've got a lady in my church who lost her husband a couple of months ago. Today, the 28th, we were supposed to be celebrating. I see it's 12:04 right now. It's Sunday morning actually, but today, the 28th, we were supposed to, there were some some difficulties and some schedules for some important people. So, his memorial service was put off for a while, but we were supposed to get together and celebrate his memorial today. Well, we probably could have. That certainly probably would have been considered a funeral, no more than 50 persons. We could have celebrated. We will. Um, and I look forward to that. But according to this edict, we could. So anyway, if you're anywhere in North Carolina, um, this is for you, unless your local governments have said that's not good enough for them. Uh, and that is about it, fellas and ladies. In any case, I hope you've enjoyed this, or at least been informed by it. I hope it relaxes you a little bit. Uh, um, there's a whole lot of businesses I didn't cover. I'm not going to read all the verbiage to them, but it's a ridiculous number of businesses. First of all, keep in mind, that section that I originally showed that said, you know, for purposes of this executive order, essential businesses and operations includes the following businesses and organizations and institutions. Those businesses, organizations, and institutions that conduct operations while maintaining social distancing requirements. That might exclude prostitution, uh, you know, uh, um, and like I said, might exclude pedicures and manicures, but it might exclude haircuts for a while. Nobody's getting their hair cut for a month, I guess. But apart from that, that's about any business I can think of. What businesses can you think of? Again, just to read the bold titles, it's pretty silly. Um, Stores that sell groceries and medicine, food and beverage and production and agriculture, organizations that provide charitable and social services. By the way, it's also all of the supporting businesses that keep these operations running, places that businesses that transport things and businesses that provide inventory for places, businesses that service those places. All these businesses are allowed, assuming that you can, keep social distancing requirements in check. Organizations that are charitable, social services, religious entities, um, media, gas stations, and businesses needed for transportation. What gas stations are not needed for transportation? Do you need an oil change? Do you need a timing belt? Do you need some new wiper blades? Do you need to, till your land? Well, for goodness sake, go get your stuff done. Go to Tractor Supply if you need to. Just stay 6 feet away from people. It's not that complicated. Financial and insurance institutions. Uh, so we don't want to keep people from getting in debt in the middle of this financial crisis that's been brought about by social crisis that's been brought about by a health crisis. So we're definitely not going to close the credit union. I mean the pawnbrokers and the consumer installment lenders and sales finance lenders and all those good guys. Um, so this also includes insurance companies, underwriters, agents, and brokers, of whom I am one, and related insurance claims and agency services. So, you know, I if somebody has an insurance office, you can go there. Sounds like. Uh, if you wanted me to come to your home to show you a quote or write a policy for you or something, uh, as long as you sat on one side of your dining room table and I sat 6 feet away on the other side of the dining room table, or one of us on different couches or whatever, sounds like we'd be fine. Home improvement, hardware and supply stores, critical trades, mail, post shipping, logistics, delivery, pickup services, um, Oddly enough, um, must be down here somewhere. That includes Uber and Lyft, by the way. Educational institutions, laundromats. Are you crazy? Yes, laundromats. You can go there if they're open. A lot of these places are closed, but it's not because necessarily that the state tells them they have to be. If they are closed, it's not because of this particular executive order that's going to go into place on Monday at 5. Supplies to work from home, so your office product stores. Um, uh, any place that again supports these businesses, and of course transportations. There you are, Uber and Lyft. So home care, home-based care and services, residential, professional services like professional engineering and architecture services. Are you having a building? Are you doing are you doing some planning on a construction project? You can go to those businesses and sit 6 feet across from them and talk about those plans. This is not the shutdown of the world unless we make it so. Manufacture, distribution, and supply chain for critical product and industries, defense and military contractors, hotels and motels, to the extent used for lodging and delivery, or carry out food services and funeral services, and so on and so forth. So anyway, that's about the whole thing, guys. Again, hope you found that useful. Would love any comments that you have underneath. Look forward to putting that other video up that I alluded to. I'll have it ready for you in a day or so. And as you can see, I'm getting pretty bleary-eyed here. Hope you're having a beautiful night, and talk to you later. Thanks, guys. Bye.